Hey guys. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Sports with Mano and Mano. It's October 11th, 2025. And of course, I'm here with my trusted co host, Elijah Wab. Eli, good morning.
Good morning. Happy Saturday. It is not a great day. We have a big storm coming here in New Jersey. So we're not looking forward to that in that regard. But we have a great day in sports today and this weekend. MLB, plenty of stuff to talk about. And that's all that matters. And we, of course, kick things off with the monologue sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summer Hill, New York.
That's to you, my friend. Take it away.
And all right, then let's go ahead and let's kick things off and underway. And well, wherever we have this big debate every time on the show, how do we like a pregame show or postgame show? Do you watch it? Do you not watch it? But for some reason this week, there was some pregame shows and postgame shows that took it to the next level where it's like we got to really tune in and watch. I have three examples I'm going to bring up in just a little bit. And I'll start off with number one. Well, this week, after the Yankees lost to the Blue Jays, the Fox MLB crew, of course, had their normal post-game show. And David Ortiz, Poppy as they call him, and Guerrero Jr. shared the special moment when they started yelling, "The Yankees lose." It was such a funny, cool moment, went viral all over the internet. And then after, it was just a funny chemistry between Kevin Burkhardt, Bobby Ortiz, Jeter, and Rodriguez. It was such a cool moment. And that's one of those pregame shows in the MLB where it's like, all right, we got to watch to see what do these four do and what do they have in common? What are they going to bring to the table and what are they going to do next? That was one example of one of those shows that really took it up to the next level. They won an Emmy recently, and they really are proving why they are the number one pregame show for the Fox baseball side of things. Another pregame show, of course, College Game Day on ESPN, which is on the air right now. It is one of the best pregame shows out there and one of the best shows that ESPN produces, no question about it. And
I
everybody
agree.
asks the same question every week. What does McAfee do next? Will he be jumping up on a chair and hyping up the crowd? What does he do next? And how much money does he give away? And what money am I talking about? Well, the kicking contest. He's already given away over $2.5 million to both students and to charity. On top of that, last week, uh, he gave to Gabby, one of the students that was part of the kicking contest, $300,000, even though she couldn't kick the kick because it wasn't that great. Allowed Herb Street to throw right into the field goal post, and it was such an incredible moment. Goes to show how kind of an incredible person that McAfee is. And of course, the best NBA pregame show of all time is back, and it's coming back to ESPN this time. And I'm talking about Inside the NBA. Although TNT's contract is up, Inside the NBA and ESPN will be a thing. They'll get at least 20 games, both on ABC and ESPN, starting from October, some of their marquee games. And they'll get an hour post game show and about a hour pregame show produced by TNT on ESPN content, one of the best out there. And these are examples of the three best pregame shows and postgame shows out there, and why, maybe we got to start paying attention more and more often to these shows. And you could have a different feel and take about these shows, but these are shows that we want to watch as fans, and they're helping to grow this game in a whole new level.
Well, let me ask you this. Who's the NBA? Is that Shaq still and all those
Yep,
guys?
that's Shaq, Kenny, EJ. They're all the same. Nothing changes.
Well, I wanted to bring this up because I had my brother in law brought I gave him a basketball going to meet Shaquille O'Neal,
Yep,
and he actually signed the basketball. So now I have a Shaq signed autograph. And by
that
the
is awesome.
way,
That
I like
really.
Shaq. He's an
I
awesome
mean,
and yeah.
who doesn't like any of the guys from the NBA on TNT now ESPN crew? I mean, they really are some of the best of the best. I mean, they really produced. They won 21
Yeah.
straight Emmys. They are the one of the best out there, and there's no question about it.
And it's funny because you brought up because college game day at the game, and we're going to get into college
We'll get to that in
basketball
a
and all
little
those
bit.
kind of games. Yeah. But it's
And
early
of
out
course,
in Oregon. They went on it was only 6 o'clock in the morning this morning when
I
they
know.
went
Well,
on.
that's what happens when you're on the West Coast. You have to deal with that, like time
Yeah.
shift, time change. And I know that Herb Street's gonna be leaving on a flight mid show, like he did last time they were in Oregon, because he's got to do the game, I believe, in Texas today. So he's got to leave
Mm-hmm.
early. So at that point, I don't know why he just doesn't do game day from Texas, but I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah. Well,
make it
anyway,
easy.
so we're going to cover a lot of stuff today, Eli. But first, we're going to, like I said, you and I always acknowledge our loyal listeners and so forth. And I'd like to bring one on right now. He's going to join us, Brendan Connelly, very knowledgeable sports guy, loyal listener, and he should be joining us shortly. So, Brendan, come on in.
Yeah, he'll be joining us very soon. And of course, like I said, we have a loaded show for you coming up today. Of course, we'll have the MLB to talk about, the NFL, WNBA, the recap of that coming up in just a little bit. And we do have plenty more ahead. And of course, Brendan will be joining the show in just a little bit. And as always, feel free to chat
Yep.
in the chat box to the right on YouTube. Let us know how you feeling, what you want to talk about in terms of the sports world and wherever. We'll love to hear your comments, or of course, email us at sportsmonomano@gmail.com. And here's Brendan now.
There he is. Hey,
Good morning,
Brendan.
gentlemen.
How are you?
Morning.
Doing great. Just it's an honor to be on Eli and Jim. I've been listening to the Monahan Family Sports Talk for 35, 40 years, and I guess we've come full circle.
We have. Now everyone can enjoy our banter back and forth. But
All
That's
right.
it
right.
really is. It really is great to have you, Brendan. And I know you're very knowledgeable in sports and so forth. So I'm going to throw a couple things at you. Right? We got a loaded show today.
Of course.
So I want to get your take on, like I said, not only is it good in Major League Baseball and college football and the NFL, but it's also a big day in New Jersey for high school football as my St. Joe's and Don Bosco take on. What's your take on the high school um, football venue in New Jersey?
Well, it's been quite a ride for the last. The tide has shifted over the last 25 years. We went from seeing more integration with the publics to right now it's all about the private schools and parochial schools, and for good reason, right? And they have players. You know, you can't put a game on ABC or ESPN without seeing a kid from Jersey, specifically the powerhouses that we're talking. So it's been a minute since I've watched significant high school action, but I'm excited to hear your take, both of you, being that you're both parochial guys. I'd like to know who the main players are outside of the Bergen Catholic bubble that I keep hearing about, with the starting quarterback, ninth grader, son of New York Giants Ring of Honor Chris Snee.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's the real deal, not only in football but also on the diamond. He's the number one recruit coming. I know that he is a dual sport athlete, and
Yep.
Yeah.
5 stars. 5 stars.
And when you see Brendan, like today, St. Joe's takes on Don Bosco, and the quarterback for Don Bosco is general manager of the Giants, Joe Shane's
That's
son.
correct. That's
Yeah.
correct.
Well,
Who seems to have a liking to Jackson Dart, which has been a heck of a change culturally that I think that we're seeing with our own eyes right now, as we're seeing a quarterback for the Giants. Not to shift gears too much, but he has, as the kids say, swag, but as professionals would say, he has the footwork, the vision, the release,
yeah.
the ability to extend plays and to look downfield. And, I know that he is serving as a mentor for, I believe his name is Carson Shane, the quarterback for Don Bosco,
Yep.
being that, his father is in the business.
Yeah. And listen, full disclosure. So Brendan played with my nephews and went to Wayne Hills High School. They've kind of been off the radar over the past 10 years, but they're starting to make a comeback. And to that point, I wanted to bring it up because we talked last week about Hall of Fame nominees for the NFL. And I wanted to get your take without a completely unbiased. We go down the list, and Greg Olson is first year nominee. Is Greg Olson a Hall of Famer in your eyes? Brendan?
he'll be right back.
There were some
Mr. Con-
technical difficulties.
There we go.
I think
There
there
were-
were some technical difficulties, and I was prepared to be peppered with a question. So if you could repeat it, I'd
I
love to
will.
answer.
So I brought up that you're a Wayne Hills guy, and so we had the Hall of Fame nominees last week. Is Greg Olson a Hall of Famer in your eyes?
Absolutely not.
Agreed.
And I'm just
Great player.
I'm gonna sound very fresh when I say it, but look, we have to be honest. We have to really hold high regard, not only statistically, but we have to look at the era in which the players play. Greg Olson was part of a tight end era, and he had a good career. But it's okay to be in the Hall of Good.
Absolutely.
We should be looking at immortals in the Hall of Fame, guys that you cannot tell the story of the game without. And Greg's future will be potentially, I believe he could be a Hall of Fame broadcaster as
He's
opposed to a Hall of
outstanding.
Fame
Yes,
tight end.
absolutely. I 1,000% agree with that one.
He's outstanding. Really is. And excellent though. So Brendan, I got a couple of quick things I wanted to bring up. Like I said, I'm going to do this new little segment called "Keep 'Em In or Kick 'Em Out," and we just came off the heels of the Yankees getting knocked out of the playoffs. So is it time for a change? Is it Cashman? Is it Boone? Is it both? What do you think?
If I had a gun to my head right now, I would say both. And the
Okay.
reason why I say that is I typically am on the side of managers, but what I see is a philosophical difference that the Yankees seem to have and what they used to have, which was a winning formula for October. Granted, I understand that Mariano Rivera was the greatest of all time, but when we look at this game and this league, do we have power arms? The answer is yes. You have power arms in the front of the game. The back end of the game is a toss up. We don't
Yeah.
the power bullpen that they talk about is not um, up to par in my opinion. And the other thing philosophically is that the execution of the small game does not work with the Yankees. I believe the Dodgers called it last year Yankee ball, which is put the ball in play and watch the circus on the field. And that's essentially what we're seeing. And I had a long conversation with Jim, Eli, and I want to get your take on this too. Is that I'm typically in defense of the managers, but what we're seeing in October is you're seeing that execution take place on the defensive side of the ball, like the Dodgers, covering that wheel play on the bunt, the controversial bunt play. Last night we saw a guy who came out of the game after 99 pitches, who's a generational starter. We're seeing if you put the bunt down and you get the bunt down late in the game and you move the runners, you're drawing the infield in and contact wins the game. Philosophically, the Yankees don't have that. They're an all or nothing offense. Statistics look great, but situationally, no.
And I would have to agree with you 100%. I think it's on the manager, and
All
I
right.
think it's time for
Well,
Boone to hit the road. And I think that's just the bottom line. I mean, this
and
is
when
year
you
after
get
year
it,
they make the playoffs. They
and I
make the playoffs.
appreciate both.
They can't execute. They can't go far.
Yeah, and
Go
it's
ahead, Jim.
always tough to pinpoint it on a manager. I think, if you look at his overall bucket of work, the guy averages 95 wins a year, but we're not getting to that finish line, and we have a great player, so you can question a lot of his managerial decisions.
Mhm.
And I've kind of defended him for a while, but you know what? I'd be happy if they replaced him, and I think my choice of managers would be Don Mattingly.
But doesn't it start at the top though, Jim? I mean,
Yeah, I
when
think
you pump out 95 wins consistently, but you're not winning in October, what's the formula for October? And I'm not sure the Yankees have that.
Saying that
well,
all
isn't the
along.
general manager doing his job to get a team on the field that can win 95 games, and the guys that don't
Sure,
hit.
Sure, but what happens in October?
exactly.
October is when the Yankees don't execute at all. And really, and I'm happy that
Strikeout
Aaron.
home run only goes so far.
Exactly. And I was talking, one player that I've been stressing about on the show was Aaron Judge. I've been saying that all along. Finally, this year, he did something. If the Yankees would have went far, Aaron Judge would have been the star in this show. But
Can I ask a question?
go ahead.
Jim, how long have you been watching Yankees baseball?
My entire life.
Okay. Are we calling Judge's home run clutch, quote unquote clutch, in the fourth inning of a game? Is that how low we've come as a society, that we're looking at fourth inning home runs as clutch home runs? I mean, we are.
I
He had a
know.
very good
And
series, and it's a shame that we're looking for the word clutch in the fourth inning.
That is a fair point. But
I
I think because everybody
understand that.
wanted to see him
I
finally do
understand.
something, because he doesn't do anything in October. I think that's why everybody was saying that this was a clutch move. This was awesome to see him do something, because he does nothing in the postseason. This is the first time in a long time we've seen Judge wake up finally and do that type of
Mhm.
home run that we haven't seen in a long time in October from him.
Well, it's certainly
I
not going
would
to go down as the Aaron Boone moment, when
No,
that was a
absolutely, no
clutch,
question.
right? Yeah. All right, Brendan, I got another one for you. So keep them in or kick them out. And now things have changed over the past couple of weeks, because I defended Brian Dable for a while as the head coach of the Giants. And now we have Jackson Dart, a new era. So the kind of, it's deflected a little bit of the criticism away from Dable. Keep him in or keep him out, regardless of what happens this season.
I say kick him out.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
reason
I
why
think
I
his
say that
time.
the reason why I say that is because I believe that the Giants, despite probably their biggest regular season win in maybe
Long
10,
time.
11, 12 years, I would imagine, uh, I
Yep.
think there was a very damning comment that was made about Dable that I think deserves more highlight and recognition, and that's the breakdown of Ryan Fitzpatrick talking about Daniel Jones's game and the Minnesota Vikings offense. I know that he was there for a cup of coffee. They were talking about Kevin O'Connell's play designs versus Dable's, and it was excruciatingly concerning to hear a pro quarterback's take who played in the NFL for 15 years about how basic the Giants offense looks compared to the Minnesota Vikings. And that is with personnel that,
Yeah, and my take, my take when I look at Ryan Dable, I think from a personnel decision, like, why is Evan Neal still on this team? Why is Jalen Hyatt still on this team? And then, so Andrew Thomas gets hurt, and they bring in this guy that looked like he never played left tackle in his life. And those are the decisions, those personnel decisions, I think, are really what's driving me to say, I think Dable's time has come,
I
I
agree. Go ahead, Eli.
No, I was going to say, I 1000%. I think his time is gone, because this is a team that's wishy washy. One week you beat the Eagles, like this week, 34-17, but last week you lose to the Saints 26-14. How could that be? I mean, this is just, it goes to show the coaching has changed. And I think a lot of it also is on management too, the ownership. I mean, we saw what happened in Hard Knocks with Jaden Daniels, how they didn't choose Jaden Daniels, how they went for another player. But it's just
I
the
can live with
simple
that, Eli.
decisions.
I can live with that because I firmly believe that Jackson Dart has the makeup to be a top tier NFL quarterback. Like I said in the beginning of my segment, the way he moves the pocket, I know we've seen a very small sample size, but his eyes are downfield. He has a very quick release. He seems to have command of the offense, which I love. The 5 turnovers in the game at New Orleans, this is part of the growing pain. But in this league, when you look at the successful franchises, you are looking at tandems of ownership, GM, head coach, quarterback in that order. And if
Mhm.
you have disequilibrium in any of those areas, you're going to have a breakdown. And what the Giants have is, in my opinion, they have ownership that is, the Mara family. You can't tell the story of the NFL without them. However, he has been very involved in personnel decisions, from what I understand. I think you have a GM and a coach that sold themselves to the Giants franchise saying, look what we did with Josh Allen. No, the answer is look what Josh Allen did for you.
Yeah.
And the Giants also passed on Josh Allen to take Saquon Barkley, which was the wrong pick. And I don't care. I would do it 1,000 times the other way every single time. Saquon Barkley was not going to make a difference for the Giants franchise because of the personnel that they had around him. That
That's
being
fair
said,
enough.
they can win without him. And they finally have that guy, but the other guy's got to go.
All right, I got one more. Keep them in, kick them out. And this is college football, and we've seen this guy, James Franklin at Penn State. They've had this team that's on the verge, and yet he can't win those big games. Is it time for Penn State to
No,
cut bait on this?
no. And I am not a Penn State fan. Full disclosure, I'm not a James Franklin fan. I think that he runs up the score on the little guys. He doesn't play anybody out of conference. I think that's very telling of their program. But the reason why I'm going to defend him here is, if you're going to fire, tell me who you're going to hire. And Penn State they're at a level right now that they should be. Pennsylvania high school football, New Jersey, Ohio, Maryland, Virginia. These are places that they control, or they should control with recruiting. Um, on, you know, much to their chagrin, it seems that they're getting beat out for the top-notch kids in Jersey, like they're going to Notre Dame and such. That being said, I would love to float some names on who you hire, and they have to have
Yeah.
a control on the Northeast.
Well, I think they do get it. I mean, when you look at the Penn State team, I just think there's something missing. And I got this time I put it on the coach because they do have the talent. And fortunate that he these top teams. That's just my take on it. But one last thing, because it's a big, big day in college football, and Eli and I are going to dive into it. The game of the day, I think, is Indiana and Oregon. And I'd like your take because we got loyal listeners, the Tom Hughes and the Derek Krugs, and Eli's
Sure.
co-host on the 12th Horseshoe is also at Indiana. Is this team for real? And is today going to be indicative of whether or not they're on the right path?
Well, I think that they could still lose today and still compete for the playoffs. And this is my argument with against the playoff expansion, is that we used to see teams chase immortality. Now we're seeing the hotter team at the end of the season being dangerous, and we've turned it into college basketball. That being said, great coaching. Signetti is a offensive mastermind. I think
Yep.
today Dante Moore might expose their defense a little bit. Dante Moore was very impressive in the win at Penn State at the whiteout game. I'm interested to see what Indiana does to hold up a fight. But I think that as long as they compete, they're in the conversation for playoffs, which is fine. That's the way the sport has gone. I don't, off the top of my head, know the rest of Indiana's schedule. I'm sure it's challenging. That being said, I would still expect to see Indiana competing in December.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough.
Well, Brendan, listen, I thank you very much for coming on and giving us some of your perspective as well, because Eli and I have our takes and our loyal listeners have their takes, and that's why we're here. That's why you're on the show, because we respect and give our loyal listeners and their takes as well. So thanks for joining us very, very much.
Thank you. It's great to be on, and you guys are doing a great job, Eli. I'm very proud of what you're doing with Jim, and I know that you're pursuing this in college. So good luck to you, and I'm sure I'll be watching.
Appreciate it. Thank you as always.
Thanks.
Okay, guys. Take
Thanks,
care.
Bren.
Take care now.
Be good.
Well,
Okay,
that was
Eli.
great.
So that was great to have Brendan on, and
Yeah.
good perspective. So that's just it.
Well, let's
A lot of us don't agree on, but that's what it's
a lot of
about.
yeah.
Right.
But that's what it really is about. And we have Tom Pugh. Brandon is a very smart man. Yes, thank you, Tom. And that is absolutely true. And again, feel free to comment, let us know your thoughts about the interview and read much more from today's show.
Okay, Eli. Well, let's jump back into the Major League Baseball because the playoffs here, right? and we're down to the almost the final four. I think today is the final, whether it's the
Yes,
Cubs or the Brewers. Um, but the
great series.
Yankees are out. What do you think?
Well, the Yankees lose. That's the bottom line. And
Yeah,
the old saying, "Not the Yankees win," and that's it's the whole joke. Bottom line is, I think Aaron Judge's Glenn. I'm very happy to see that he finally did something, and I think that if they didn't play such a tough team like Toronto, I think they might have had a shot to go to the World Series again. They might have had a shot, but
yeah,
they played a tough Toronto team that knew how to hit, they knew how to pitch, they knew how to check off every single box. And it started in game one
yeah.
where they literally put up 14 runs. That is says something. When you put up so many runs in the first two games, it really goes to show you how tough of a team this is going to be. And I won't be surprised that we are going to see Toronto and Los Angeles in the final. This is going to be your final, and I have a great feeling about it. Whether or not the Cubs or Brewers win, I think we're going to be seeing the Dodgers, and I think we're going to see the Blue Jays, because those two are the
Okay,
two best teams right now. And I don't see those teams stopping anytime soon. And it's going to be one heck of a series if it is indeed Los Angeles and Toronto in the championship.
okay. Well, like I said, this is, when the Yankees lose, and people say, "All right, well, I'm done. I'm not going to watch the playoffs." But you have a lot of other things around. I think it's good that Seattle won first time to the ALCS
Yes,
since 2001, and Cal Raleigh had this great year. So I think it's great to be able to see him in this kind of a limelight, because they don't get a lot of TV coverage. So I think that's exciting. And yeah, like or dislike the Dodgers, they got a great team. Obviously, we know their bullpen is a little suspect, but they can score runs, and we get to see Shohei Ohtani. And like I said, I think baseball is still in for me, so I'm going to continue to watch.
me too. I'm going to continue to watch because I want to know what happens with Toronto next. Do they continue to perform like they did with the Yankees in the previous round, or do they continue to dominate, or do they backfire? Do they do the opposite? I'm very curious to see. And again, tonight 8 o'clock is that Chicago Milwaukee Game 5 all decider game, and then tomorrow, of course, Seattle Toronto on Fox will be your nighttime first game of
Yep.
the ALCS. Hey,
Final four coming up in
yep,
baseball.
except not March
Exciting.
Madness edition. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's super exciting, that's for sure.
All right, Eli, what's on the agenda next? I know you're
Well,
chomping at the bit to talk about the WNBA, or
of course,
with
we'll
the.
get to that in a little bit, but let's go right now to the NFL. I think the NFL is the king of as usual, and we had a lot of upsets last week. We are going to go through some of the upsets, of course. We
Mhm.
had Los Angeles. They lost to 49ers on Thursday night in overtime. Los Angeles was favored in that game. The next game, Texans beat the Ravens 44-10. A big upset. What is going on, Baltimore? I'll continue get to you in a second, Jim. Another one, we had the Eagles losing to the Broncos 21-17, and another upset there. We had the Saints taking over the Giants 26-14 and an upset there. Another upset. I'm going to go down the list here. The Titans, they defeat the Cardinals by a point 22-21, which was a big surprise there. And then Sunday night football, the Patriots beat the Bills 23-20, and Jacksonville beats Kansas City 31-28. The list of upsets last week were insane. It really was insane. And a lot of questions that need to be asked, specifically for the Baltimore side of things and even the Philadelphia side of things. Losing a lot of games. Again, Lamar Jackson out for the Ravens does not help a bit. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, boy, there are
Yeah,
some questions that need to be answered.
yeah. I think the biggest surprise, as you mentioned, is Baltimore and what's going on there. They look like they had the best defense in the league, yet they're giving up the most points, and they can only go as far as Lamar Jackson will take them, and he's out now. So they're struggling at four. That's probably the biggest surprise at the first quarter pull of the NFL season. And then
Yeah.
again, you have teams like the Jets, 0-5, same old Jets. We talk about this week after week after week. And they're in London tomorrow against the Denver Broncos. And, I think Bo Nix is turning into a legitimate NFL quarterback. And I think the Jets get on the plane leaving London with an 0-6 record.
And I think if they
Frustrating
do
for
come
Jet
back,
fans.
If they lose and they don't win, if they don't lose close and not play good, I think there's gonna be some coaching changes. There's gonna be a lot of field changes. There'll be a lot of changes heading into week number 7. That's for sure. There'll be some
Yeah,
changes.
and that I think the really feel good story in particular for Giant fans, because I supported Daniel Jones for years, and this is where I brought up with Brendan about Brian Dable. You know, the personnel that he had, he didn't have an offensive line for his life, and now he's got a decent offensive line in Indianapolis, and he's playing like the quarterback I thought he was, and I'm
Unbelievable.
happy for him. I really
I
am.
really am. And like
Really
I
am.
said, this is a potential Colts team that is a Super Bowl team. Right now, they are one of the best teams in the AFC. It's crazy to think about. I mean,
Yeah,
they are really Super Bowl contenders. Like if the Super Bowl ended today, if the playoffs started tomorrow, I would 1,000% say the Indianapolis Colts are going to win the Super Bowl or have a shot to at least make it to the Super Bowl, considering what we're seeing right now in the AFC right now.
well, the AFC is still pretty tough with um, a
Yeah,
road
but
to the Super Bowl, but
yeah,
I'm happy for
but
Jones.
I'm very happy for Jones. But I want to go back to the AFC and with your point though. But what do we talk about in terms of tough though? Because right now this Kansas City team isn't the Kansas City team that they usually are. Technically, Denver's right now better, quote unquote, in the AFC West. And
Yeah,
the Chargers lost last week, if I'm not mistaken, they lost last week to the Commanders
they did.
27-10. So you can minus them out. And if you look at the AFC side of things, right now it's the Buffalo Bills. But even them, they just lost the Patriots last week. So and they're never this playoff team that goes far, even though they make the playoffs. And then what else are we left with? You can't mind. You have to minus Pittsburgh. You got to minus the Bengals. You got to minus the Browns. Who are we left with? Not much. You really are in
Mhm.
jeopardy. Really.
No, they do have a legitimate shot at getting there. And you just brought up the Patriots. Think what a difference. You know, this was a year too long. I don't know why they didn't hire Mike Vrabel, the Patriots, you know, before they
Right.
hired Gerard Mayo. But they fixed that. They knew it wasn't the right thing. He's a great coach, and I think that he's turning the Patriots into a really decent team. For the past few years, they've been awful. Mike Vrabel is certainly a difference maker there.
No
And one
question.
other
And
note, Eli, I wanted to bring up because you know, we talked before the season, and when the Cleveland Browns named Joe Flacco as their starting quarterback, I said, you know, the guy's 40. He's been done for 3 years. He comes in, has a couple of good games, and now he gets out of Cleveland, goes because Cincinnati without Burrows is, you know, no good. So he gets another life, but you know, there are other quarterbacks in this league. I don't think why Cincinnati's not going to go to Cincinnati and turn them around until Joe Burrow gets healthy. It's crazy.
it really is. I
Got a
mean,
great agent.
it's crazy to think about. And this Bengals team too. I mean, they gotta rely on Joe Flacco now. They can't win a game without Joe Burrow. It is sad. It really is sad
It
to see
is.
what's going on down there. And I want to bring up two other notes. First off, as I mentioned before, with this Giants game last night, the night before with the Eagles, how about that performance from Cam Scatterbo? I mean, what a performance he had! Really was an incredible performance, and I think he is going to be definitely doing something for sure for this Giants team. And I like this new connection between Dart and Scatterbo. They got a big future ahead for this New York Giants in
They
terms of those two players.
they do. He's become a fan favorite already. Both him and Dart. It's great. I think
No
it's great for the Giants.
question about it. And one other note I want to bring up. How about this Jacksonville Jaguars team? They beat Kansas City at home 31-28. They are right now up there for competing with the Indianapolis Colts, something that we never thought we would happen in that division. And now it looks like it's going to be a tough competition. And it's going to be coming down to the final stretch of games to see who's number one, who's not number one, because this Jacksonville team is really good right now. And you have a really good Indianapolis team right now. This would be such a great division, which nobody thought would be a great division this year. It's very interesting to see.
I know, and I've been very critical to Trevor Lawrence. I didn't think he's maturing into the player that he was supposed to be, but he's starting to look pretty good now. So sometimes it takes a couple of years for these guys to mature and get acclimated to the NFL.
Absolutely.
All
We
right,
do have a couple
Eli.
notes though. I want a couple comments. Sorry, we have a couple comments I want to get to real quick. Joshua says, "How about the San Jose Sharks blowing it big time?" It's the Sharks for you.
Well, it's a little early in the season.
And finally, he says Jake Browning was doing good, my man. I'll put
I
it back
know,
up.
but he's actually has been doing good. He did pretty good this year, but he's throwing a lot of interceptions. So, the Bengals have said we've seen enough of Jake Browning. We're going to bring in Joe Flacco. That's on Zach Taylor. I don't know what he's thinking.
All right,
All
and I
right,
think it's
Eli.
time
So I
for the
know this is
moment.
your
It's the moment everybody's been waiting for.
this
It's
is
the
your
reason why everybody comes to watch the show every
moment.
Saturday. It's the only reason. And let's throw it up there. That standing chart. And Jim, 6-11, and I'm at 11-6. Not the best record for Jim this year. Oh, and here's the confetti to celebrate. For me, such an exciting moment.
Hey,
But
I'm taking my medicine.
yeah,
I take my medicine here. I give you your props here. So,
yeah. So and by
but
the way,
just remember, is we're only 5 games into the season, so don't take that crown off my
well, no,
head
no.
just
I'm gonna
yet,
keep her
fella.
because it looks like I'm gonna win again this week. By the way, you went 1-2 last week. I went 2-1 in our picks for last week's show, and of course, we got another 3 games
Yep.
to pick this week. We'll get rid of it. We'll put it back up there. All right, so let's go. What are our picks? So who's gonna start it off for us?
All right, go ahead. I'll give you my 3 picks.
Okay, and then I'll go. That's fine.
Arizona, Indianapolis, right? And I think it's pretty clear cut. I'm not a Kyler Murray fan. I don't even know if he's playing, so I'm going to take Indianapolis. But the second game, Seattle, Jacksonville, and you brought up Jacksonville, and they're playing well, but I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks this week. So I'm going to take that upset over Jacksonville on the road. And this isn't a cupcake game because kind of both teams stink,
Right.
but Tennessee and Las Vegas. And I'm going to take Las Vegas. I mean, I don't
Ooh.
know. I don't think they're a great team, but I don't think Tennessee is any better. So I'm going to take Las Vegas. So I got Indy, Seattle, and Las Vegas. And I think you have 2 of the same games.
Well, you do have 2 games, and these 2 are one of the by far the best games of the 1 o'clock window. Cardinals, Colts, really good game. I cannot trust Arizona though. I got to go with Indianapolis. Final score 28-20. Seattle, Jacksonville. What a great game. Seattle put up a really good performance last week, 38-35 last week. That was incredible. Except Seattle lost. Tampa Bay won. Uh, but again, we're going to have a lot of defensive injuries. Davon Witherspoon is going to be out once again. It looks like he's showing doubtful heading into tomorrow's game. But I think, though, despite all this, Seattle's going to go to Jacksonville and get a very close win, but they'll get the win. 24-22. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks in this one.
Ooh, I'm surprised
I
by
know.
that after you just did.
I
Okay.
made my pick prior to these announcements of injuries, and I cannot change my pick. And we announced my pick before in the
Okay.
12th horseshoe, so due to legal reasons, I cannot. But I kind of
Third game.
Jacksonville. But 49ers Tampa Bay, what a great 4 o'clock game. San Francisco somehow still in it to win it. But this Tampa Bay team is too good. So that is why I'm going to go with Tampa Bay to get the victory here, 32-26. So my picks are Colts, Seahawks, and the Buccaneers for this week. And as always, Jim, I don't wish you the best of luck, and we'll see what happens next week.
Well, I'm not going to be able to make up a lot of ground here, being that we picked 2 things. So I'm going to suggest, and our audience can chime in, that maybe we move the
Nope.
format to 4 games
Nope.
a week.
No. So you can lose more. That's all you want because you went 0-3 one week. You went 1-2. So you just want to make it 0-4. I get. You know what? I'm okay with that if that's the case. So
All right.
all right,
And,
I'm all right with
all
it
right.
actually. Go ahead, audience. Let us know.
All right.
But let's go to
So
college
let's
football.
talk about college football because hey, I've been picking very well on college
At least you
football
got one
games.
thing right.
Yeah. So this is a great game and a great week for college football. And let's just go back last week. Penn State, as we talked with Brendan before, they just can't seem to keep this momentum going. They lose on the road at UCLA, and Texas loses to Florida, which one of our loyal listeners, Kenny Backert, actually told me that was the game, and I took Texas, but Florida ends up winning. And um, right now, Arch Manning's not looking, that we all expected him to turn
Right.
into. So that was a big surprise. But this week, it's great games. And I think we mentioned before, Oregon and Indiana, that's the game of the day as far as I'm concerned. And that's where game
No
day is
question.
this week. And I know we have a lot of Indiana Hoosier fans that listen to the show. I just don't think they to make that leap, and I don't know that they could win on the road at Oregon. But that's the game of the day. But there's some
No
other
question.
great games as
No
well.
question.
Ohio State, Illinois. That's a good game, but I think Ohio State takes that one. And of course, we got the red rivalry with Oklahoma, Texas, and that's a great game. I like Texas to bounce back and beat Oklahoma, even though their starting quarterback Mateer is coming back.
Yeah.
Michigan, USC, still not sold on USC. So, Kenny, I know you're going with USC to beat Michigan today. I kind of disagree, but that's okay. He's the professor. I'm not. And Alabama, Missouri, that's another great game today.
Yeah, it's at 12
And a
o'clock.
lot of people are taking Missouri, but I think Alabama is starting to find themselves, and Simpson is proven that he's a legitimate college quarterback. So I think Alabama, I'll take them today. Um, and Florida, Texas A&M, that's another good game. But I think A&M is really good. And yeah, out of nowhere for Oregon, Dante Moore jumps up, and now he's the front runner to win the Heisman Trophy. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it really is incredible. And another game I want to bring up too. What was the other? Texas A&M, Florida. That's 7 o'clock Eastern, and Georgia Auburn. I'm excited for that one. 7:30 on
Ah,
ABC.
yes,
I forgot. I
another
I
good
want to
game.
make sure I get that one. Georgia and Auburn. I think that's one of the best games to watch out for tonight.
Yeah, I
But not
think
much more for
Georgia's
tonight.
going to take. I'm going to take Georgia in that game.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
Well,
Eli.
let's go to the WNBA, our final time this season talking about it, because last night the Las Vegas Aces became your WNBA champions as they defeated the Mercury 97-86 and swept the Mercury in 4 games. This is the Aces' third championship, and Aja Wilson was named your MVP. It was an exciting season with a lot of controversy in the WNBA, but it has finally come to a close with the Las Vegas Aces getting the third championship that they deserve. And prior to the trophy presentation, of course, as we know, the commissioner has been battling a lot of issues right now. Did she say what she had to say with Nafisa Collier and that conversation? Is the statements she's been saying true? And it seems like the fans aren't happy with her performance, as prior to the trophy presentation, she was booed louder than ever. There was fans in the background putting on middle fingers and doing all crazy stuff, booing and yelling curse words at her prior to the trophy presentation. So this is a unique a sign and craziness that we're seeing here with the fans and the commissioner in the WNBA.
Hmm. Yeah. So we could use the term dynasty, right? 3 out of
They
4,
are a
3 years.
dynasty.
Yeah.
They are. And could they do it again next year? Hopefully it's New York Liberty, though. And with that, I think we can go ahead and move on to some random points sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut. I guess I'll start it off.
Go ahead, Eli.
All right. Well, for those in the tri-state area, of course, be aware that there is a nor'easter heading our way tomorrow into Monday. They're expecting over 2 to 4 inches of rain and heavy wind up to 40 miles per hour. A state of emergency has already been declared in New Jersey. And of course, if you are leaving in the storm or not, be sure to take caution as always and stay safe throughout this storm. It is supposed to be powerful.
Yeah.
We go on to the Savannah Bananas as they've officially announced where they'll be playing next year, including 10 football stadiums, 14 MLB ballparks, Walt Disney World, and a grand total of 75 stadiums in 45 of the 50 states. In addition to the Bananas, firefighters, party animals, and tailgaters, they've also added new teams to play in the fun, including the local Beach Coconuts and the Indianapolis Clowns. They've been added to the Savannah Banana Fun. In our area, they'll be playing twice at Yankee Stadium in April, so can cash the bananas at Yankee Stadium in April. And they're also going to be playing in New Jersey at the Shoretown Ballpark in Lakewood, New Jersey. So those are your opportunities to go check out the Savannah Bananas in 2026. Similar to baseball, they'll begin their season in February and go all the way to September, and the championship being in October. So an exciting season ahead for the Savannah Bananas. So be sure to get those tickets because they will be running out fast.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're interested in that, and because I've been to some games at Lakewood, it's a really nice stadium and it's a fun atmosphere. And I saw my nephew play minor league baseball there, so that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, really good to see that they're coming to Jersey too. Really exciting. Bring some life to Jersey. All right, we go now to this. Connor McDavid re-signs with Edmonton for a 2-year, $12.5 million deal prior to the NHL season getting underway in full swing. We move on to LeBron
Put that
James,
up.
who's
I
expected.
just want to touch base.
Go
Go ahead, Eli, finish up.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you have to say about
No,
that?
wait, what were we talking about? Oh, the hockey, McDavid, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we talked about this. Kaprasov signs this biggest contract. So I was
Yeah.
thinking that this is going to change the bar, but yet Connor McDavid signs with the Oilers, to my point where I said, I think he wants to win a championship with Edmonton. And that's why he took less money to sign this contract.
I think there's no question.
Keep an eye on the salary cap issues in the NHL, because that's a barometer for the way things are going.
No question. And we have a couple more notes. LeBron James is expected to miss the start of the NBA season due to an injury to Sitka on his right side. Not much else new. Eric Sepulstra has been named head coach of Team USA men's basketball. And finally, SNL is all new tonight with host Amy Poehler and musical guest Role Model. So be sure to check that out tonight on NBC. And that's my random points. Jim, all yours.
Yeah, I got a couple. So crazy story with this Mark Sanchez situation.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even want to bring it up for those reasons. Yeah.
Well, but yeah, you bring it up. Here's a guy that was, reinventing himself with a career in the broadcast booth, and he just goes sales, and he's done in the booth, obviously. So what happened there? Who knows?
Well, now he's got felony charges. That's what happened.
Yeah, I know. He's in. So Jason Tatum, and this is interesting because he's now the chief basketball officer at Duke University, which is interesting because I think what that means, maybe he tore his Achilles last year, and maybe he's not progressing as fast. He may actually miss the entire season for Boston, which doesn't spell good for them. That's for sure. And he's he's a great player. I know some people disagree that he's not a top 5 player in this league. I think he is, and I hope he bounces back. And a quick thing, we talked about this story came out that the Knicks tried to see if they could trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo over the summer, and it didn't work out. But I think about this point, like I said, when the Knicks made the decision to fire Thibodeau and bring in Mike Brown, I think this is going to be a year that the Knicks fall back, because I don't think Mike Brown is any better by any stretch a coach as Tom Thibodeau. So I think, a lot of people are saying the Knicks have the team that could go and win an NBA championship. And I say with the players, yeah, maybe on paper they do. But with that head coach decision, I think that's going to haunt them down the road.
Yeah.
And, one other thing. On ESPN, and listen, I certainly appreciate the talent it takes to drive these Indy race cars, but on ESPN Formula One, I can't sit there and watch more than 3 minutes of it. I mean, I don't understand. And
listen, people enjoy it though. People enjoy watching Formula One racing though. It's exciting. Apparently, I haven't watched a game, a match, or race or whatever, but I have to maybe, I guess, because there's a lot of excitement for the sport and for racing, and I gotta maybe get into it.
I know, but I did try. I said, let me sit here and see how long I could watch these guys go around.
But you know what? At the same time, it's like golf. except racing is fast paced and they don't stop. Golf, it's hold on. He lines up. You wait 5 hours till the ball goes into the hole. It's really the same thing if you think about it, except one's fast paced, the other one's slow.
Funny. Very good.
I have to bring the energy of
All
the
right. Anyway,
the
so
show.
those are my random points, Eli.
All right, with that, it's time for What's Your Recommendation and the photo segment sponsored by Vital Selection. Scan the QR code to learn more. So, what's your
All right.
recommendation?
I got a recommendation, and I thought I sent it to you that we were going to put up in the photo segment. Of apparently I didn't. We had Brendan Connelly on, and I can recommend that if you haven't had an opportunity to go see a West Point football game, do it because it's so it's such a wonderful environment. Of course, the West Point campus is amazing, and right now it's during the fall. So Brendan and my brother and my nephew and had a picture, and I to send it to you. So maybe I'll put it on next week. But it's just a great atmosphere, and it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be the Giants or the Yankees or something. But I've been to West Point football games, and the ceremony they have before the game where all the cadets march out of Washington Hall. It's just spectacular. And I
I'm
know
sure it
Brendan
is.
had a great time at that game. And he was with the last year's starting quarterback from Army. So what an environment. That's my recommendation. If you haven't done it, do it.
All right. Well, I'm going to continue the trend for the food trend, and my restaurant pick for the week is going to be the Cheesecake Factory. Can't go wrong. Uh, Decent food and good cakes.
I've been there. It's good.
Yeah. All right.
It's
Yeah, it is.
actually good.
Yeah.
A little
All right. Well,
expensive nowadays, but what
it's
isn't, right?
too expensive. What's not expensive? We'll go back to that one another day. Let's go now to some photos and videos.
All right, Eli. So listen, I wanted to bring this up because as we're going to bring up our production next week, we're going to do an 8 a.m. show next
Yes,
Saturday.
indeed.
And part of that is because we're doing a bench dedication for my little brother, Stephen. I actually checked it out and very excited. A lot of his friends and are going to be there to honor this, and he'll forever have this bench at the Oakland Recreation Field, and that plaque will be on
That
that
is
bench.
awesome.
So it's great. Looking forward to it. And I got a chance to go to my grandson's football game last week, and that's me with him. What a game he had, and it's my granddaughter as well. So it's always wonderful for me to see them in person and watch him play. It's great. I love it. Now, this is Derek Krug having a pretty good vantage view of, excuse me, the Aaron Judge home run that he hit, which didn't prove to be anything more than a home run. And as Brendan pointed out, it was in the fourth inning, but you could tell the atmosphere of the Yankee game, and that was pretty short-lived, but a great moment if you were at that game like Derek.
Wow. That is the excitement that I'm seeing from the fans, from the Derek and everybody. That is so awesome. I mean, wow. And it goes to show you how crazy it is when you go to a Yankee playoff game. It's like a whole new atmosphere. Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, that was a great game. And as I brought up before, like I said, I love all facets of football. And this is my grandson playing in Wayne last week, and it's just exciting to see. These are the future guys in the high schools and the colleges, and you know what? They may even be a future pro on this field
You never
right
know.
now. And if you zoom in, you could see my grandson's number 15, and in this particular play, he reminded me of Jack Lambert. Watch the play here. Comes up and makes the catch. Great
All
play.
right.
Awesome.
That is awesome. And Derek chimes in. He says, "Good morning, Jim. Tuned in at the perfect time." You got that right.
Yeah, and I know he's excited about his Indiana Hoosiers today. So good luck there. I don't think you're going to be happy at the outcome, but we'll see. Thanks for joining us.
All right. We do have some
Okay,
notable
Eli.
passings. We have a lot this week.
Yeah, go ahead. Start us off.
Okay, John Lodge, a singer and a bass player for the Moody Blues, has passed away at the age of 82. He was born in 1943.
Yeah, Moody Blues, gotta love them for sure.
Of course. Mike Greenwell, the Red Sox Hall of Famer, has passed away at the age of 62. He was born in 1963.
Let me put a couple of quick points on Mike Greenwell. And
Okay.
he was an outstanding, he's a lifetime 303 hitter for the Red Sox. And when you talk about the Boston Red Sox, you think about left field, you had Ted Williams and then Carl Yastrzemski and then Jim Rice and then Mike Greenwell. And he played 12 seasons for Boston. Had a great career. Was second in the MVP back in 1988. Lost out to Jose Canseco, but Mike Greenwell was a tough out for the Yankees to get out when they played the Red Sox, and he had a great career. Good player.
Yeah, and the last one I have is Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt, who has passed away at the age of 106, born in 1919. What a life she had in the face of March Madness for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, no question about it. As a matter of fact, she was the chaplain for Loyola of Chicago, and yeah, she took the country by storm with her charm and grace during the March Madness run back in 2018. And yeah, 106, pretty good life right there. Yeah.
Before we continue with the no passings, we have a couple comments. Derek says Indiana wins by 7 is my guess. Tom says we're going duck hunting today, baby. Go Hoosiers. And Derek says, let's go, Tom. Hoosiers got this.
Good luck, guys. I'm pulling for you. I'm just
Me
saying
too.
this
Me
is a
too,
big
but it's gonna be a
tough
really
test.
tough game, though. I agree. And go ahead
All
with the
right,
notable
I
passing.
got a couple. Chris Draja, who was also one of the founding members of the Yardbirds, which Eli, you may not know, but it was even a little bit before my time, but a great rock and roll band with Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and all those guys. He was 79 years old. From kind of not a great, not notable in a sense, but a notable in a sense from a historical perspective, Sarah Jean Moore, who tried to assassinate President Gerald Ford at the time, one of those Manson crumbs. But she was 94, spent her life in prison, which she should have done, but she passed away this week. And one I actually forgot to bring up, Eli, a couple of weeks ago. We brought up the Leroy Jordan, former great linebacker for the Cowboys. But when Leroy Jordan retired, D.D. Lewis took over for him, and he played like 13. Actually, played more, maybe the most games for a Dallas Cowboy. Great linebacker, wore number 50, and he was 79 years old. But actually played in the most playoff games for a Dallas Cowboys. So that was notable for me. And I remember watching him. I was a linebacker when I played football, and I always admire guys that were great at their position. And he was as steady as they come in the NFL.
And we have 2 more comments I want to get to real quick. I laughed at this one when I saw it. Crazy that Mark Sanchez outlived Sister Jean from Brendan. I had to laugh at that one. And Tom says, Coach Sig is the godfather of Bloomington, baby.
Hey, listen, I'm not dismissing that Coach Signetti knows what he's doing, and he's pretty bold about it too. But this is a big test for them. So good luck. Good luck. And Eli, before we go, I wanted to give one shout out to another loyal listener, the son of Mike Garvey, who is a diehard listener, but to his son Jerry. He has twin boys, Bobby and Jerry got a job with the NFL. So he's out in Mount Laurel. It's like a dream job for him, and he's working
what's his
on
role?
it.
Like, did he say?
Yeah, he's actually going to be doing some edits for some of the pregame shows and compiling some highlights.
That is awesome. Wow, congratulations.
And I talked to him the other day. He's so excited, and it's like a dream job for him. It would have been a dream job for me. And they're out in Mount Laurel, which I know used to be the headquarters for NFL Films. So now I think it's the NFL Films has kind of merged with the NFL. So good luck to Jerry. And
That is awesome, though. Wow.
yeah, he's a really, really nice young man, and it goes to perseverance because he 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 he, he applied for these jobs a lot of times or at like time. Now he's
Yep.
got this job and he's very excited and I'm happy for him.
Hey,
Okay,
and you know what,
Eli,
though?
we
Speaking of
covered a lot
interviews
of
and all that,
ground.
though, I've been hearing from a lot of people, though. I've been hearing from a lot of people that everybody's been struggling with these, like, no matter, not just sports, just any job. It takes so many interviews, thousands of applications, this and that. It really has been getting harder for these people to get like these jobs. It's crazy to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with
But other than that, we had
AI.
a great show. We'll be back live at 8 o'clock next week. Well,
Yeah.
AI is another argument. We got to have a whole show on that, but we
All right.
we'll talk
And
about
like
that
I
another
brought
time.
up today,
Maybe that's the
the game
monologue
is-
next week.
the game of the day is St. Joe's Don Bosco, and I'll be there and I'll give you a report next week. You told me
Okay,
that
and
Don
I'm going to
Bosco's
St.
gonna
Mary's and Parkridge. I'm doing the game there, and that's why I got my St. Mary's breast cancer shirt on. So let's go St. Mary's today, and we enjoy your day of high school and college football. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then hunker down for the nor'easter tomorrow. So good luck with that.
Good luck with that, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. And again, of course, send us an email at sportswithmanoandmano@gmail.com. Thanks.
All right, everyone. Have a great day.
You too. See you next week.
Bye.